Greetings. Welcome to Limitless Alchemy 808 Impatience. So I wanted to come on and have a little chat about reincarnation, as I had mentioned it in my previous video when I shared some experiences that I've had with energies beyond the veil, and this is just another aspect of that, because there's many of us who don't believe in reincarnation, don't believe in past lives, and while we have been advised by Bashar that past lives are merely just other timelines, there's not really a sense of actual, we do reincarnate, so it's the mostly just you're in different experiences of timelines. I feel that the timeline I was in before this, like right before this, I was a gay stunt car driver in Hollywood in the 1970s. Like, I have a very strong sense that I had that experience and actually transitioned while doing a stunt. So it kind of explains the way I drive, I think. But I'm very cautious, very defensive, not offensive driver, but but anyway, so I wanted to speak about the and I had also mentioned in another video, which if I can locate it, I'll link it down in the pinned comment, but I'll put a playlist at the end of this video and it's sure to be in there. So my grandmother and I, we did not have what would be a close relationship. She would watch me as a child, and I would always try to run away because I thought she was mean. She would lock me up with her in her room when she took her naps, and now that I realize that because there's issues with incest in my dad's family, that she was just protecting me for my own good, for my own, safety. So when I moved with my dad when I was 11, I just viewed her as very strict and old-fashioned, and especially as I was in high school and just very I became more contrarian, so she didn't like that. But the the transition that my abuelita had was very traumatic and very impactful, because she had developed gangrene on her left leg. I believe it was on the calf, from phlebitis. I can't get like a clear reason as to how she got phlebitis, but the gangrene went quickly from her left leg to her right leg. So they did amputations at the knees. Well, I don't know, I guess they didn't catch it in time, but somehow the gangrene had already spread to her femurs. So then she went back in and got amputations at the hips. I don't know if it was, honestly, my grandmother's soul contract, perhaps it was time for her to go. She was 69 when she transitioned, and that is a very beautiful age. So the gangrene had already spread to her tailbone. And it was just a matter of months, or not, I believe weeks actually, when we found out it had spread to her tailbone. And I'm not even sure if you can hear me. I tried, well, I used earbuds for my last video, and I heard the audio and I was like, gosh, it sounds so low, and I'll just work to project my voice more. In any case, so she was bedridden, of course, and in a hospital bed in our living room of our family home. And she suffered to her end. It was very painful. She didn't want to be on pain medication too much, so she just kind of toughed it out. That was her. And the reason why her and I didn't have such a close relationship was because she understood English, but she didn't speak English, she wasn't as fluent in it, which is, I find odd, because when I was little and she would watch me, she'd take me to El Monte on the bus so that she could go to her English classes, and I'd be on the playground hanging out, translating for the Spanish speaking kids to the English speaking kids. And then we'd get French fries from Jack in the Box for the bus ride home. My grandmother is super cool. So the night of her transition, everyone was there at the house. Everyone's, crying and not crying and angry, and some were making jokes to distract themselves, and we all deal with grief in our own ways, and they're all valid ways. But they were praying and, all around her on her bed, and it was very late at night, and I had decided to go lay down in my room and rest a little. And when I went to sleep, I saw León, Guanajuato. I saw the family home there. I saw the village. I saw neighbors, friends. I was walking through the streets, and they were calling me by my grandmother's name. The rumor about my grandmother is that the reason why she married my grandfather so young was because she had shot someone pretty sure in self-defense. And so my grandfather, and they changed her name. She was Anastasia, but as I knew her, she was Maria. But she apparently killed someone, and so grandfather married her, and they, started building the home and family and everything, and then came to the U.S. when my dad was 6, and my dad is like towards the end, like he's the mid end of like 13 kids, but that had survived. But there's only about, Uncle Louie, Uncle Ulysses, Uncle Ernie, Uncle Roger. I believe there's 9 left now. But so they came here, and so back to her, the night of her transition, I was in Leon, and everyone was calling me Anastasia in my dream. It was astral projection. My grandmother astral projected with me to Leon to show me part of her experience. And as people were speaking to me, when I would respond to them, it was perfect Spanish. And my Spanish as a child, was perfect. Now, okay, it's perfect, but it at that moment, speaking Spanish that fluently, it could only be supernatural. So and as I was in the projection, I heard my cousin's voice, my closest cousin, and he said, "Sabrina, Grandpa died." Grandpa, he said Grandpa. And I woke up, and I was like, "Wait, what, Grandpa?" And he's like, "No, Grandma's dying." And I was like, "Oh." So I went to the living room, and we're all there with her. And she was just fighting it. She was so resistant to transition, because she knew that once she left, that we would not be the same, that our entire family would break apart, and it did. I don't see my cousins, or not many of my cousins like I used to. I mean, we would hang out almost every weekend, but now, like, they have kids and everything. I mean, I have my own life. I don't, worry about it, but it's just the contrast, right? And this is what she had seen. And she didn't want that. She wanted everyone to be together. But, so she transitioned, and her shell was laying there for, I believe she had passed away at like between 3 and 4 in the morning. And they didn't call the coroner until, I would say, about 8 o'clock. So we just kind of like sat there with her shell and mourning, and she had appeared to my uncle too, he had told us, when she passed, because he was in Palm Springs. But so with the whole reincarnation thing, my cousin she just turned 11. She just turned 11 years old. And she's a Taurus. And quite, she's so cool. But when she was, for the time to her to be born, it's 2025. So my grandmother had been she was in the ether for perceived 14 years, for human years. And my cousin was born. I remember going to her baby shower, and before she was born, I remember going to her baby shower, and I still have the favor. Aside from my own children's baby shower favors, like hers is the only favor that I have, and possibly my nieces too. But when she was born, I immediately went to the hospital. And my cousin Lynette and she's my closest cousin's youngest sister. And Lynette and we hung out a lot growing up, but she is, I believe, she's about 6 or 7 years younger than me. So we didn't hang out too much. I was more so hanging out with my older cousin. And so when she gave birth to my youngest cousin Gabby, I just felt so drawn to go to the hospital and meet her. I was like, okay, Gabby's, I need to meet Gabby. She's here. So I went to the hospital, and immediately when I held her in my arms, I just knew right away it was my grandmother. I just held her, looked at her, and was like, oh, it's Grandma. She's back. That's so cool. Like, wow, she's here. And her mom also believes that it's our grandmother. So some other people in our family don't, but that's okay, But her and I were just talking about it at her birthday party. I was like, oh, Chicken Leg's birthday. And then I was talking to her mom. I was like, yeah, since the day I held her, I knew that Grandma came back. And she's like, yeah. She's like, I'm so happy that she has the life that she has now, because the life that she had previously, the experience she had previously was I mean, some people may find it, some beings may find it to their liking, but the sense that I got from my abuelita when she was in that incarnation, yes, she was happy. Yes, she brought joy and love, but she did go through a lot of tribulations, a lot of experiences that most of us would not prefer to have. So we were just saying, like, it's so awesome. And I have a pair of earrings that were given to me after her transition that I'm going to give back to her when she's 16. I feel that is a perfect age to give those to her. But, and there's also been other instances where I've touched things of people that I've never even met before and knew that whether or not they're here on the plane, it's called psychometry, and all of us have it. All of us. We all have this ability. It was something that is unconsciously tapped for this definition, but for yours, if you don't already experience it and you prefer to, you can. Just go within and allow yourself that access. But I had gone to my former partner's apartment when we first started dating, and he was very avoidant about talking about like his past and his ex that he had dated right before me. And he told me that at one point he finally told me that she had brought her own time about for her exit, for her transition. She transitioned herself, and we were at his apartment, and he had gone to the bathroom, and he had this little tree. It was like a faux bonsai with like LED fiber optics, and get some coffee. I love matcha too, but I can get some of that. I have coffee on hand, but definitely love matcha. So on that little tree, he had like some necklaces and things of like crystals he had wrapped and made into necklaces and would wear, and he had like some other jewelry on there. And I saw this earring that was laying in the little grass of the pot, and it was like, it was an earring that went, and then it was long, and it had little rhinestone stars and a bunch of rhinestones all over. It's really pretty. And I picked it up, and as soon as I picked it up, I was like, oh, this is Marie. And that was his ex. I was like, oh, this is Marie's. Oh, she's here. She's here on this plane, and she has a very beautiful life. So I put her earring back and didn't say anything to him about it. And then months later, somehow it just came up, and I was like, yeah, she's here, because he, was very distraught about her. He blamed himself, and we really can't control what others are going to do. All we can do is control our reactions, and when you're ready to give yourself the permission to not carry shame or guilt for what someone else does, you just it's just so freeing, so much lightness. But yeah, those were just some beautiful experiences that I love sharing with you, and I love to hear about your experiences with psychometry and reincarnation, past lives. I'm just a mirror of you. We're all one, still at home, haven't left the center, but here to have fun, here to enjoy everything that we have and move forward to the new experience. Move forward to the beauty that the universe has in store for us. So I'll see you in the next one. Stay soft, stay sweet, stay pure. Oh, one way that my grandmother connects with me in this timeline, I just looked at my little pin here, was that when I moved with my dad, I would collect a lot of Pachaco. Like, I was 11 when I moved with my dad, and I would collect a lot of Pachaco, like, stuff. So I find it so endearing and lovely that my cousin Gabby, she collects Pachaco. Like, that's her thing too. And I'm just like, wow, okay. Like, my grandma remembered, and she's also into like spooky stuff now, and like she does makeup and everything. It's just, she's so cool. Like, I'm just so glad that she's back. I mean, it's not the same shell, but it's still her. And everyone's just an extension pushed out of us anyways. So, I'll see you later. Take care.